This is Between Hooksets. I'm Chasen Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the fishing crew.
What is going on, buddy?
Not much. I just caught my physique there when setting the hook. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize. Oh, never mind.
You look
never
little
mind.
ripped.
The guns are not much more than BBs anymore. So never mind. I thought for a second there I looked like I was ripped, but I was dreaming.
Yeah, well, me too. The only thing I rip is my jeans.
Do you have the same problem that I have? I always wear a hole in my back right pocket because of my cell phone.
No, I hate things in my pockets. So,
well, the problem I have is I'll go into the store and get groceries, and I'll have 16 people behind me, and I'll go, "Oh crap, wallet's in my car or in my pickup," because I had my phone in the back pocket, thinking it was my wallet. And
I've done that several times.
Yeah. Hey, I want to start the show out because I don't want to forget about this. This is going to be the best 64 seconds of the night. Do you want to set this video up?
Yeah. So one of our walleye anglers' son, who is usually the highlight when I see him, is loves the fact of coming on stage and just loves the microphone. And he's got a bright future ahead of him. And his dad's a great tournament angler. So I'm sure he'll be across the stage very soon in life with dad to do this. But they were out fishing the docks on Sunday. We actually ran into them on the road, and they were fishing Milt's Pond with the trout and the salmon and stuff like that. And they weren't having much luck. And I said, well, we just released a whole bunch of bass yesterday into Spring Creek. You might as well come down there. So they went and fished the docks, and we had the stage all set up, and every fish he caught, he ran to the stage and we waited for him. And this was one of the last fish he caught right before we started weigh-ins.
Love it.
All right, Preston, bring it on up, bud. All right, next to the stage, Preston Keller. How many fish? One fish? $204. How was your day?
Good. The first thing we did, we caught 4 crappies, 2 bass, 1 pike. That was it. So down at the doctor, there's huge bass, like giant. They're large now. Thank you. Enjoy your day, please.
Hey, go get your fish.
I absolutely love that and could watch it over and over and over again.
It makes me so excited for the future, to see a little kid like that excited to run up there. And the only thing that scares me is I know his dad's such a good fisherman, so he'll probably go the fishing route, but he could take my job probably in the next couple of months. He could take my job on the stage with that mic. So makes me a little nervous, but the future is bright. But we're going to get to the guests tonight, and they know how to bring big fish to the stage. Our winners of the Bass Cup, Shane Stiehl and Jeff Brown. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Good.
Fellas.
So you guys have fished this pretty much every year, I believe, right? You fished all 3 years?
No, just the last.
You missed the first one. That's right. You missed the first one. And, you come out and you're right there. And, first off, Shane, this electric company, put up $500 for the big bag of the tournament. And you come in on day 1, and I'm like, "Oh, you're swinging for it, bud. You want your money back?"
The threats I got. You better get that
fish. And so you go out and you put up like 24 and change on day 1, just outside the lead. You come in on day 2, and I go, ooh, another nice bag. And Shane looks at me and goes, not enough. And without the live leaderboard running, I don't know. When did you realize you won it?
Honestly, until someone had come up to me after looking on the phone, and they come up and they're like, congratulations. And I said, there's no way. There's no way. Like, someone had to, I mean, just, it's fishing that good right now that you could pull up on any bank at any given time and load the boat with 4-pounders. So to hear that and whatever, it was awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, you said, oh, it's not enough. And I'm like, I don't know. That's going to be in contention unless somebody comes in with another 24-pound bag. And to set up the weekend for the people, like, absolutely gorgeous on Saturday.
Yep.
I mean, if we could complain about one thing, we might need just like another 2 miles an hour and wind, because it was almost glass calm. You know, I mean, for us walleye guys, anyways, maybe bass guys don't want any wind whatsoever, but I mean, it was glass on the lake for the day. And then day 2 come out, we had some thunderstorms pop up in the morning. When my alarm went off at 5 a.m., my alarm went off and lightning cracked out my window, and I went, uh-oh, we're delayed. We're going to be delayed. But Pitlick's already coming in.
Imagine.
I thought we were going to be delayed right off the bat. Got down there, typical weather coming from the west, hit the Missouri River and did its thing and split. And I don't think we heard. I mean, I told somebody we had 357 raindrops, and I counted every one of them that came down during Spring Creek there, and there was hardly anything out there. There was a storm cluster up north we were watching, but everything kind of went away. And takeoff was almost glass calm.
Yep.
And then it got a little rough.
Yep.
And then we were setting up, battening the hatches down for the wind. And I don't really know what time the wind laid down, but during weigh-ins, it was like glass again.
It was, probably a half an hour, probably 2:30, because we were in the back of Spring Creek. You know, we kind of came back early. And I told Jeff, I looked out there and I said, there's no way. I said, is it glass calm out there? And he goes, yep.
Yep, that it was.
So you go out there and you see, we had a little bit of different conditions. I mean, the wind wasn't bad. I mean, for us walleye guys, I mean, that was not bad at all. But I heard it was a little rough during some of your running that day.
Yep.
And you make the runs. So go through tournament prep, like what your pre-fishing looked like and what how it came out.
I'm going to let Jeff take this one, because I literally got to pre-fish Friday and he fished the whole week. So
Do I start now? Well, like I said on stage, Joe Paulson had called me, or I fished with Joe Paulson for almost 4 days prior to Monday. So it was, he had some relatives coming into town and they wanted to go fishing. So he asked me probably in late February, early March, if I'd be willing to come out and help him, you know, drag him around the lake, which it's not a drag at all. Absolutely, I'm coming. I'll come help you out. So we started in on Thursday fishing, and we fished up there on Oahe, and then we moved over to Lake Sharp one day and took him down there for the catching. I mean, it's kind of fishing, but it's catching as well. And then we moved back up on Oahe, and when his relatives and friends left, we ended up going out and pre-fishing together. And then Eric Storms joined us for one day, who is his tournament partner. So we fished all of the same waters together as like we would in a tournament, you know, and we respect each other. We know where to go or not to go. And then we said, you know, if I got something that'll help you, or you think you need it at the last minute, go right ahead. So there was a lot of credit to be given there. And Shane hopped in on Friday, and I said, there's one spot that we haven't checked yet. Let's go see what's up in there. And we rolled in there, and the fish were there, and they cooperated really well for the time of the tournament. And we didn't even get to run through all the spots that I had that I really, really wanted to fish, because, you know, like Shane said, you could pull up and nail a 4-pounder, a 5-pounder, a 3.5, a 3.5. And like he said on stage, I was in the boat for 45 minutes on the floor calling while he was catching fish. And that's the true statement. It didn't happen just once. It happened a couple of times. So it was like, I'm sorry, Shane. He said, just keep them coming. I got this. Don't worry about it. So I don't know. We fished a lot of miles of river bank. I mean, there's 230 miles of the river. I mean, we tried to fish at least a third of it. I swear, up one side and down the other. So we worked hard at it. I mean, I just give credit to the guys that went along. Everybody pitched in, whether they knew it or not. We learned something from everybody. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's a good way to do it. Did I hear? Did some go up past the bridge? Go that north?
I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Did some guys go past the bridge, up the 212 bridge, and go?
Yeah, some of the guys I think did. So,
Okay.
I know we didn't quite get there. Would have had to throw a stone to get there, but we didn't quite get there. We were pretty much there. We fished through the bridge. We fished north of the bridge. I fished upstream of the bridge. Fished downstream of the bridge. I wish I could have gone up, but I just didn't. That last day, it was iffy if I wanted to go any further north because we had a hard enough time managing time. We had to pull into Mission. We were running upstream and came around the corner there by Mail Shack. And I don't know where the waves came from, but we ran straight into some 4-foot waves that there was no indication. It was like chatter, 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 55, 65 miles an hour. And next thing you know, you're airborne and saying, where are my wings? And you start flapping. It would come down pretty hard. It was just, there's some maintenance to be done on the boat from that too. So I know Mama's not happy about that one.
What did G-Man say when he was here? Awahi is French for repair your boat daily.
Something like that.
Yeah, could be it too. You get the wrong winds. That happens.
Let
So
me
you
pop
go
this up
out-
here real quick. I'm not sure because I have a feeling we're going to be talking steady here, and I just want to toss a couple pictures up. Well, I've got the opportunity. Kurt sent these along, and I do have pictures of bait, so we're probably going to have to talk about bait if that's okay. You know, is it okay to give up the secret?
Well, Shane sent them to me, so it better be. But before we get into baits and stuff, going into the tournament, like, what was your guys' thought coming in Friday? Did you feel confident enough, or do you feel like, hey, we got enough to, be up in the money, but maybe not win? Or what was your mindset going into the event?
Mine?
Yeah.
What I can say is there are fish on so many spots. I told Shane, we're going to go where the fish are, and there's a lot of them because we're going to have to call to get to where we need to go because you never knew which crew you were going to pull up on. If you were going to pull up on a mob of 3.5s or a mob of 4s and 2 3/4 pounders, guys, you could catch as many of those as you wanted to all day long. Every kid in the world would have been happy to be fishing out of the boat. They would have been busy, busy, busy. It was a good time. We were catching, it's going to sound like a farce, but the other guys I fish with will tell you it's 100 to 200 fish a day. And you're calling through them, just digging through them, and throwing them back. I don't know. I told Kurt when the tournament was starting, I said, this is going to be a fantastic tournament. You hit it right on the button. These fish are coming up to the bank. They're coming into spawn. There's pre-spawn. There's a couple post-spawn. But you're going to see a lot of big females come up. And I'm glad that they went to bedding because a lot of those guys took those fish that were smaller because they'd already spawned, and that helped us for our win. So I'm happy with that. That's fine.
That's kind of the interesting thing about bass. Talk about that a little bit when you're talking about, 2 3/4 pounders, 3 pounders, 4 pounders. It seems like those year classes kind of stick together. It's not like when I was out with Casey Briggs, we just got into a bunch of these 18 and 19 inchers, the 2.5 pounders, I suppose, maybe a couple nudging 3, but they were all the same size. Every one of them were the same size. We never pulled a little one out. We never pulled a really big one out, but they were all just very typical from one fish to the next. Is that how bass are on Oahe? When you say you're running into different groups, if you run into 4 pounders, you're into 4 pounders, not a whole bunch of pound and a halfers, 2 pounders, 3 pounders. Yeah,
it's kind of strange on Oahe, and we'd catch a small fish and we go, well, I'd say a turd in a punch bowl. It's kind of rude, but he didn't fit with the rest of them. It's like, where did he come from? You catch a 12, 13 incher and you're going, wow, that's an oddity. And you catch a 2 pounder. Well, this one's pretty small, but when they start putting their bellies on, you catch Shane caught a fish. What was he, Shane? 16 inches?
I don't think he maybe stretched 14 inches, maybe.
Really?
And he was 3.06 on the scale, and I said, no, that can't be right. So I took him off, cleared the scale, turned it back on, clipped him back on, and I said, nope, Jeff, it says 3.06.
Yep. he made a ride the last day, and it was the one we needed to get rid of, but actually it's one we needed. We kept saying, we got to get rid of this one. We got to get rid of this one, but it's the one that we ended up keeping that we're happy we kept.
So for me, novice walleye guy, you know, I heard about, the buck bass, and what do you guys mean by saying the buck bass are up on the beds and the feet, you know, explain that whole situation. I kind of got the gist of it now, but don't really know what they mean by the buck bass and why they're doing what they're doing.
Your turn, Shane.
So typically what happens during the spawn, especially, largemouth and smallmouth both, the males will actually go up and they'll actually make the bed, and the females will just kind of stage out somewhat, either on a break or offshore or whatever. And they'll, when the time gets right and the mood hits them, they'll just slide up there. They'll pick one out. They'll do their thing, and then they'll get out of there. And the males will actually kind of guard the nest, let the eggs hatch. They'll guard the fry. And that can even be fun too. I've never actually really got to watch the smallmouth do their thing, but I know a couple weeks ago when I had them kids out, I sent you that video.
Yeah.
And there was 2 up there. That was pretty cool. But when you can get around the beds and the males are guarding fry, it don't matter. I think you could throw a bowling ball in there with a hook on it, and they would try to eat it. I'm serious. They are just so aggressive. If any bait gets anywhere near the bed, it's down their throat. So
that's just incredible. Like you said, you can throw anything at them. That video, I wish I'd have sent that to Brian, because that's just an awesome video of all them bass, like just up there hammering it. And you know, we talked to Tyson a few weeks ago after the Sharp Showdown win. He was talking on side scan. You could watch, you know, on his live scope, you could watch this female. He goes, she was laying eggs as we were watching her go, and see it on the side scan. But with these bass, you're watching it just in the water. I mean, you're sitting there watching it in the water, and what an incredible thing. And yeah, we hit the tournament probably dead on the nails this year. You never know, right?
Yep.
The first weekend in June, we're going to go the same weekend next year. That's going to be the home of the Bass Cup, is the first weekend in June. And I think we're going to see a lot of the same stuff. We might be a week early. We might be a week late. You just never know. I mean, think about it. Last year, the ice was on until, you know, a week, 2 weeks for the tournament.
End of April.
You know, and
we had canceled the last week in April due to ice on the water still.
Yeah, so. And we were close on this one. I think it came off of during Pike Masters, like, because we didn't know Pike Masters if we were going to get boats on last year. It came off a couple of days prior. Gave us about a week and a half for the Bass Cup to be able to open the lake up. And you were saying, like, I was talking to you, like, it was weird because, like, the fishing was, you know, the TBF had a tournament this coming weekend, and they were weighing a lot smaller than these fish were. And we were a month different, and these fish were in our ice was off in February this year.
Yep.
You know, so the water temps changed. Talking to guys pre-fishing, you know, Caden told me one day the water temp was awesome. He called me 3 weeks for a tournament and said, get ready. It's going to be perfect. Went out the next Thursday, said the water temp dropped. They slid back off. You know, I think all in all, we can't complain about the fishing. First day, every team brought a limit to the scale.
Yep.
You know, all 29 teams brought 6 bass to the scale. And I mean, where can you go in this country and weigh 12 bass for 45 pounds? You know, on smallies.
There's a few places, but we are blessed to have one of them here in the state of South Dakota. So,
yeah, don't talk about those secret places up in the Northeast, because that's a Spangler and Milliken, and that is a guarded secret. If I could ever figure it out, that'd be great. But
we do have a St. Lawrence here in South Dakota, but it's not like the St. Lawrence in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So you're going out, you get. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, let's get into baits, but you go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah,
first.
that's what I was going into. So you sit down and you get ready for this event, and I know nothing. You know, what are we throwing? What are we doing? How do we break this down to start?
Super secret walleye catcher right here.
That one right there, that's kind of a go-getter. That's a staple to smallmouth bass fishing. That's
And we have to say it, Shane. You have to say it like a half dozen times because those guys got to drink every time we say it. So Ned.
Oh, we got a bet going on tonight. Somebody's got
Another group of guys we hang with, and they know who they are. They're watching, and they said, "All right, here's the deal. We got to drink every time those guys say Ned." So I just said it again.
So we'll throw a few more Neds in there.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it green pumpkin, goby?
Yep. That's green pumpkin
goby.
goby. It's got some purple and gold flake in it. I like to throw that one, especially when it's cloudy. Just seems like a few sparkles in it'll get them to look at it or eat it. That is a Rapala Crush City Mayor, the little guy. I think it's 3.5 inches long or 3 inches long.
375.
With a 1/4 ounce VMC head on it.
So do you like the elephant head jig? I mean, you got an elephant head there. Is that kind of your colors, or do you?
So that one there, I was throwing in the clean water that we were fishing. They seemed to track it and eat it a lot better. The only reason I used that jig head was for the screw lock bait keeper on there. I think out of the package that I took, I threw 2, maybe 3 baits all weekend and caught however many fish we caught over, I probably caught 50 fish on one bait. Seriously, that screw lock.
Was it a Ned rig?
Yeah,
no,
right.
No, on that little swim bait. So,
well, and plastics are so much better than they were. Like the eye candy, I swear I could put it in a vise across the room and bring it all the way over here, and it still wouldn't snap. It'd be fun to let it go and see what it does, but probably shoot through the sheetrock. But you guys also you threw some cranks. Unfortunately, no credge here. Ooh, boy, I showed my 5 head. Gotta be careful. But yeah, so talk about this. Is this a 110?
that is a Berkeley Stunna.
Stunna, okay.
112, I believe, is what it is.
Sorry, Dan Spengler. I didn't mean to cuss.
So the jerk bait with the wind on Sunday played a big role to our sack. So
and in that big wind, when I guess in the bass world we can give up secrets because for some reason people in the bass world like to talk and share, right? So when it gets windy like that, that's when the bass start to slide off into deeper water, and that's where those cranks. Of course, this is shallow though, so
yeah.
you weren't really running that deep. So talk about that then.
So one little trick that I did with this that I've kind of just learned over the years, especially in the springtime, is I will throw that jerk bait in less than a foot of water. If you can find some rocks, the fish are up there trying to get warm, the wind's blowing in on it, they'll tuck in between the rocks. And if you can get that jerk bait up there, twitch it 2 or 3 times and pause it right beside a rock, they can't stand it. They'll hit it. So, and the wind was coming in on a few points, and that's exactly what happened. So
Yeah,
it's not necessarily just a deep water bait. Live scope, we maybe use it a little bit to look for some underwater structure here and there, but as far as throwing it out and watching them hit it, that was not the case.
You're probably watching the majority of them hit it with your eyes. I mean, if you're fishing that shallow, you're watching them explode right there.
Yep, some of them.
So,
well, really, when you're out there, when you're working the water, because I'm assuming are you spot locked, or are you moving a little bit, trolling real slow, and just covering shoreline?
We were a little of both. I mean, we'd get into a fish or two, and we'd spot lock and sit there and work it over for a while, and then till we both said, okay, yep, it's time to keep moving. We got to keep going. So
okay. So did you catch fish on some of the deeper breaks? I think it's kind of fun out in some of those spots to go out there with the big chubs and just troll those deep breaks there, that 14 to 18 feet, and then they drop off to 100. Jeff, you're smiling a little bit there.
I'm waiting for Shane, see what he says.
I don't think we caught a fish in the tournament over 8 foot of water.
Really?
I don't think.
deep. And maybe
Yeah, right.
maybe the fish may have been in 8 feet, but we don't know what is under them at that point. A couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
So it's kind
Right.
of you can. They were moving so much. You'd pull out, go around a corner, and oh God, Shane, it's deep here, and we'd be casting up. But that jerkbait would come off that edge or whatever it was there, and they may have come off the bank or they came straight up. So you can't see everything out there, but there was some like 3 fish that we thought for sure maybe came from deeper because they just came straight up. So, but you have stalkers all the time in the world of smallmouth. They stalk your bait to the boat and decide to eat it just as they're short lining you, and they come out of the water sometimes after it. And it's like, oops, well, but the jerkbait was a big part of it. Are you drinking a beer without me? Yeah.
So Jason, you swore at these guys. They don't know what chubs are. They don't like live bait.
No, I didn't ever say that. It's just
Well, now wait a minute. Now, so Jeff knows Clint Hay, and I'm pretty sure Clint fishes with creek chubs.
I know Clint.
So yeah, so you know, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you
Clint will
fished
tell you
with
I'm a.
creek before, right?
I saw your lips moving. I didn't hear a word you'd said. It wasn't coming through on my end. But yeah, Clint knows I'm a chub fisherman from the get-go. I love to throw chubs in the spring for big walleyes, and Clint and I have an affinity for walleye fishing, but we kind of part our ways when it comes into the bass world. He likes to fish bass too, but I don't know if he's ever, asked him sometime if he's ever had his boat on the Lake Oahe. I don't know that he has.
Yeah, I
He
don't
needs
know.
to go.
I'll have to ask him. I really do. And by the way, with this show, I either like to do this and make people think I froze up, or
There's a lot of that going on.
Well, we got a comment here from Zach. We got to wish Zach a big happy birthday. So
Yeah.
Zach's birthday
happy
today.
birthday, Zach.
I'll have
Birthday, Zach.
So, but yeah, you go out, you do this thing, you break down this. So after day 1, you come in, you're sitting in second place by tenths. I mean, you guys were close. What was your mindset going into Sunday? Did you think, all right, we can do this, or we're going to, whatever it happens?
Well, you can never go out thinking that you're going to fail. So obviously we're going to go do it, you know?
Yeah.
Jeff had a target goal in mind for weight, which was, he said, we got to have 22 pounds. Got to have, which got to have it. If we can get another 24-pound bag in, great. But target weight was 22. Obviously we didn't get there, but it was a tougher day on everyone else. So
Yeah, and that's the thing is I talk to a lot of guys that win tournaments, and they say, you know, when that win comes, sometimes everything just goes right. Like everything just happens to happen, and you don't really have to question anything. And you guys, like I had a walleye guy say, we're signing up for this because guess what? We don't have to make decisions. We can sort fish because we're not used to that. So did you have any of those moments in the day where you questioned, are we doing the right thing, or was it just like, oh, everything is coming together?
I got one, Shane.
8:30 in the morning when we're sitting in Mission and both looking out at the main lake going, can we do it? Can we do it?
Your decisions are boat handling, and ours are, should we keep that fish or not?
Yeah. Well, the only decisions we had to make was, with him being my daughter's age, they used to fish together, and me being older, I came from when we had very few smallmouth in the river. I remember days in Lake Oahe when there were no smallmouth, 0. They weren't even in there. But he pulls the fish up, he looks at it, and it's about 13 inches, and I said, he gets ready to throw it back, in the box. It goes in the box till we got 6. And he looks at me kind of funny and cross-eyed, and I said, been to too many tournaments and failed too many times, being cocky and throwing a little one away. So we had a 12, 12 and a half?
Yeah.
It was a solid 12 and a half in the box, first fish or second fish, something like that. But I was thinking, yep, we got to do it. So that was the decision we had in the morning. And then after that, there was no question. It was just sort.
Well, see, in the walleye world, with us tagging our fish and not being able to sort, like that's when it gets to the head scratcher, because you have to have your fish to bring to the scale. But if you throw that 15-incher in early on, it can hurt you. but I've seen plenty of guys that have come to the stage and said, we threw back 15 inchers, knowing our pre-fish was better, and nothing came after that. You know, so they got 3 fish, or they scramble at the end of the day and put 2 fish together, or whatever it is, because they threw all their fish back. So they tell me, you know, that's their excuse anyways, I guess.
The reason.
So, you go out, you win the thing. When did it set in right away? Like, we did this, or like, what was it like going through that winning the 3rd annual South Dakota Bass Cup?
It probably set in when I got home that night, just talking to all the guys or whatever. I went out and grabbed a little spotted cow out of the fridge, Wisconsin's finest, put a little bit in the cup, and had myself a little celebration beverage that night.
Good for you.
Jeff had his cup here. He was gonna do the inaugural drink.
Right over there. I gotta get the camera right there.
Yeah, right. It's hard to say. Speaking of over
It's hard
there,
on camera.
go over. Okay, so walleye, bass, perch. What is that spotted bass thing that is over there on your right hand side behind you?
That is a barracuda, a barracuda. Yeah, it came out of Florida. It's supposed to be a giant one, I guess. I don't know. Brother-in-law's wife won't let him hang it. My wife sits over here and laughs and says, "I don't know why it's in mine."
So
no, it looked good behind the bar, I guess.
Yeah,
you know, Jeff, he said it sat in when he was at home. When did it set in for you? Like, what was your guys' thoughts on doing it? Because, like I said, Shane, you're like, yeah, we don't got enough. We don't have enough. It wasn't enough today.
Yeah, I said the same thing when you came up and asked me, and Kurt, and I said, well, I don't think we got it. It's not going to be enough. And we're all just kind of standing around. I thought for sure Joe and Eric could have it. And I was standing there just thinking, well, maybe we finish top 5. Top 5 is good. 20 pounds. You can't really think that's really bad. So we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, was it Russell Volgardson? That's his name, Volgardson. You have to remember that name, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm not going to remember it at all.
Wrong.
Oh, you guys won. And I said, what? No way. And then I was excited because it was unexpected. It's just, I wasn't busy doing the math, and I'm a chatterbox. I talked to everybody. I wasn't paying attention. He said, you guys won. I thought, oh God, that's kind of fun. So I went and bought a 12-pack and gave it out to the rest of the guys and said, thanks for your donation. I happily take your money.
That's awesome.
That's kind of the thing I do.
That's one thing like I hate about the live leaderboards, and I hate about this stuff because I feel like we lose that side of it, that moment of
excitement.
I don't know, and especially in this one, it was so tight.
Yep.
You had 24 pounds, you were barely into second place, just barely out of the lead on day 1, and 20-pound bag, 20-pound bag, 20-pound bag. And I mean, them bags were coming up to me, and they were just 3/4 full and barely rolling the top. And I'm like, when's that 25-pound bag, or when's that big bag coming?
Yep.
And it's just, you just gotta, you kind of lose that with the live leaderboard and knowing where everybody sits, that wow moment, and I like to look out in the crowd when I announce it to see like guys are going, did I do it? Did I do it? So I love the live leaderboard because people can follow along and see what's going on. But at the same time, I think we kind of lose some of that initial excitement.
Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, the people who win always get it, but it's not like it should be on that stage in that big moment, and
we'll get there one day.
We'll get there. And,
we'll get there.
As we break technology down and keep doing things with the fishing crew, my whole goal is to hold the winners back and keep people on stage and just get all that, to get that excitement of, okay, are you going to take them out, or are you still sitting there, working on things for that, a lot more moving parts to get it done. But that is one of the best feelings for me, and why I do it is when I look out there and I see your face and you're just like,
Yeah, watch all
that
weight.
huge sigh of relief comes off of you and you're like, I did it.
So, so not to interrupt you on that, but Saturday was my huge sigh of relief. I had a bigger sigh of relief on Saturday than I did actually winning the cup. And we were obviously making a long run. And Jeff says, I want to hit one more point on the way back.
Ooh.
You see him smiling already. And he goes, okay, well, we timed our run that morning. And we knew what we had to get back. And I'm looking at the clock. And I looked down and it said we needed, from where we were at the end of the day, well, we were actually back, but from where we were, we needed 40 minutes, I think, or 45 minutes. I can't remember, one of the two. And it said, when I looked down, it said 2:09. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, Jeff, we got to go. Like, we got to go now. And he goes, oh, yeah, we got to go. And he's putting his rocks down. And I'm like, no, like, we got to go now. And I just threw all my rods in the side, strapped them down, and we're going. And I'm sitting there watching my phone, and Jeff's just sitting there, you know, the boat's chime walking, and we look, oh, we're doing 70, 71. He just smiling. He's like, you want to drive? And I'm like, no, man. I got this feeling in my stomach like we're not going to make it. Like, we're not going to make it. And we come around the corner by the Cheyenne, and I'm looking at my clock, and I'm like, gosh, what's going on here? Well, my slow math in my head was off by 10 minutes.
Oh,
so I was thinking we were going to be cutting it close, and we were actually probably right on time. We were 10 minutes early, and when we got to the tires and we had 10 minutes to go, I was just, because I knew he did really well for the day. So,
you know, and that's what people don't understand is like, there's more to catching fish in a tournament than just catching fish. You have to do that, but time management. Yeah. You know, you can make the runs, you can do these things, but there's also a ton of things that come into your day that's not fishing. You know, you make that big run and throw a prop blade, or I mean, whatever, and that can happen at any moment out there. It's not like you got in your pickup. Our pickups are way more reliable than our boats are, and you make a run. You know, anything can happen out there. Wind comes up. You know, it slows your run down. You got all these different things, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, they just go out and fish, and then they catch their fish and come back." And I'm like, they've got to make a lot. There's a lot more to it than just getting in your boat and going fishing and coming back whenever you want.
Yeah, there's a little method to the madness for sure. So.
I just had to read the Scott. Hey, Scott, how many you got? I want to know. In Shane's defense, though, we went up, and the spot I wanted to fish, we had gotten to, and it was like 7 miles downriver, which gave us 10 additional minutes to get back as well. So we were closer yet, and we fished for a mile. And he was jittery and nervous, and it was just like, I got to keep it on the light side because I hope nothing goes wrong. We'll just keep going. He was just twitching, and I was thinking, oh boy, this kid's on pins and needles. We better roll. So it was fun. I like to see that.
Was that stop worth it? Did we get an upgrade, or was it?
No, did we? I don't recall.
We caught a couple, but it didn't help us.
I think a 287 is something like almost a 3, but no, there was no help there. That first day we did well.
Yeah,
so,
we did very well.
Yeah,
so
it's hard to remember.
Big run day 1. Did we make a big run day 2, or did we have to win factor us back? And is that why you had a 4-pound different bag, or?
It was plan B, as we called it. It was actually ended up being plan X. Waves and said, okay, we don't need to go up north for a little while. That wind's going to shut down. You know, that storm pulled through and it blew through north. Well, everything up north had the same wave action for a while. So we slid over into a bay where we'd caught them in pre-fishing. It's historically awesome. And I said, well, let's just roll in there. And we were going in there. And of course, here's Scott and Travis's Encore. They come around us just as we're getting in there. I wanted to go to the same place. And they pulled up to the bank. I wanted to fish. Well, that didn't work. They beat us to it anyway, but we fished in there for a while. We kept on looking out in the main lake and saying, okay, well, is it big enough or is it small enough? And he'd look out and no, I can still hear the waves crashing. So we'd fish a little bit more and we just wanted to get out of there. We got, it wasn't going to do us any good to stay in there. So as soon as it got good enough, we took off and headed north. So that was our ultra plan, but we just kind of hit the stuff we had up north and we didn't get through it all, but we got enough to do what we did. So it was okay. I'm not going to say we were.
And that goes into my conversation a little bit ago is you have to have, like, it's more than just going out and fishing. You can't run to that spot. You have winds that come up. You can't make it. It's a morning bite. And you got to have a closer afternoon bite. So when you go into practice, are you practicing sections of the river or is it just like, we know these spots, we can stop and look at them?
Yeah. When I pre-fish, I set up for winds. I want a northeast wind. I want a southeast wind. I want a northwest wind, a southwest wind. I want these spots to be protected from wind from one way or another because, Shane, what don't I like when I'm fishing?
No music.
Wind. All I could do is get to that spot and all I do is swear. God, I hate the wind. If there's I'll fish in hail, snow, cold weather. I don't care. But this wind can just bag it and go away. I don't like wind, period. And all I guys pray for wind. And if I'd have been smart, I would listen to Shane because on Sunday, our best fish ended up coming off some windy spots. And I was like, I don't want to fish in the wind, but I knew better and he knew better. And it's just, I don't like it. I don't want to deal with it, but sometimes you just got to. And, we rolled up there and plowed through what we had and didn't get, like I said, through it all, but it was there. It was enough.
Yeah, we want wind. We don't want wind like we have today.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
today you could surf Lake Oahe.
Yeah.
Like the only thing today is good for is if you were a kite. Like that's the only thing today is good for. But you go out there and you do this. So I'll ask you first, Shane. You fished a lot of tournaments. You've grown up doing this stuff. What does this one mean to you?
Well, it's probably top tier in my books, as far as in my career. So,
and it's the third one ever. We're going to continue to do this. Now, you think about this, the Walleye Governor's Cup, the third one ever, no fish were caught. 0 fish in 2 days were caught. And so that tournament's 50 years old this year. Now look back and, I talked to guys throughout the history that have won the Gov Cup and done this. And forever and ever from Sunday on, you guys are a Governor's Cup champion. You have the trophies, you have the ring, the money, it could be spent before you can get here. But you're forever now going to be an elite group of guys. And when we blow this thing up as big as the Walleye Cup, because deep down, I know it's going to happen.
It will.
We're going to continue to do this and grow this event. You two will be forever Gov Cup champions. And it's going to be an elite group of people, just like in the Walleye Cup. And so, I mean, to me, hold your head high. I mean, I can't say it's like winning the Classic because nothing's like winning the Classic, but it's winning the Classic in South Dakota, the Midwest. Maybe it's not the Sturgeon Bay Open yet, but there'll be a day everybody looks at it and goes, "We're coming for this one."
It'll be known from the surrounding states someday. Yes.
So, Jeff, what's it like to you for this one and all your fishing careers? Obviously, like you said, you're way older than Shane. So, what is it? And everything you've done, what does this one mean to you?
I love it. I think it's fun. It's an opportunity to fish against the guys that I've fished with for years and years and respect. The new guys like Shane and Eric and Travis and those guys, coming up with them. I love it. I think it's a fantastic platform. I have to say thank you to you guys for having the platform that you have. It's professional. It's fun. I loved what you did with that video. That you should show that, by the way, to everybody. That kid that came up to the stage. That was classic. That was very classy too. Loved it. This one's a lot of fun because it says Gov Cup on it, and I think I don't know. I've fished a lot of different tournaments. It has something that the other ones didn't. I can't put my finger on it. Probably just because it's South Dakota Governor's Cup. I think it is.
And the thing is you get that ring, man. Like you get that ring. It's something special. we've had people in the past that, Kurt Olivier, when his son passed away, he took his Gov Cup ring off and gave it and put it in the casket with his son because he never did get to fish it and win a ring with his son. So that's why I do it, is the heartfelt moments and the fact that forever in history, you guys will have that ring. And, like Ted Takasaki, it doesn't matter where you run into Ted Takasaki, he has his Governor's Cup ring on his finger. And back then there were the ugly trout rings. I don't want to say they're ugly, but they were trout in a walleye tournament. And Ted told me one day in St. Paul Ice Show about 5 years after he won it, he goes, I've won it all. I've won the PWTs. I've done this. I've done that. This ring means more to me than any of those other trophies. And that's my hope and my vision. And I truly feel it's going to come true for the Bass Cup as well, is that you guys are going to be an elite group of anglers that are going to carry that ring on. And yeah, it's going to be super fun to see who the next champion is. We've gotten a wide variety of champions already. We got Caden, who won it the first year. Caden and Al took it down. And then last year, Gary Swagger, his father or grandson and grandfather take it down in a little 17-foot single council Lund. And so that's the thing, is you're going to have this wide variety. And I think we got to build it up, because eventually you guys are going to scare that out-of-state competition of like, this is coming to some of the best waters, the biggest fish, but you got to compete with some of the best anglers in the state. And I truly believe South Dakota puts out some of the best anglers in the entire country.
Yeah. Well, I'll say one thing. I've been fishing against Gary Tobin since I was in college, and I tell you, this is probably one of the very few times. I can't remember another time I've ever beat him, honestly. So that's a proud moment. I went up to him on Sunday morning and I said, Gary, I got to shake your hand. Oh, hi, Jeff. How you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. I said, yeah, thanks for shaking my hand. I just stole your juju. Wow, get away from me, he said, and afterwards I said, thank you, Gary. He said, get away from me. So I said, don't worry about it. His dad, Gene, was there. I said, Gene needs to shake my hand. And he did. So I've been fishing against Gene and Gary for, long time. And Scott and I went to college. So those guys are awesome. So they're both classy, very good fishermen. So it was a great time. It was a good time. The whole tournament was a blast. The guys that are there top notch. So I enjoyed it.
Scott just commented, Gene gave you the hi-hat. What's that about? Is there a story behind that?
Gene gives you the hi-hat. He's got some respect for you. He's a classy fella. That's all there is to it. And for him to take a hand off his cane, he's not walking like he would normally should, but if you put one hand up and put it on, you tip your hat to you, that's nice. That's really nice.
Sign of respect there. So yeah, great event, guys. Congratulations on the big W. And
thanks.
To go forward. And I mean, think about it though. We had, Bassmaster Classic fishermen fishing this thing. Mm-hmm. Guys who've made the Classic. We have Brock Bielik that fished the Opens. We had teams from Arkansas, North Carolina. I mean, I think them guys are all going to go home and tell their friends about it. And like I said, at the rules meeting, the weigh-ins, just bring one friend next year. Just find one guy that's not fishing it, and we're going to double the size of this thing. Yep. We get to 60 boats. We're paying 10 grand for first place, paying 10 spots, and this thing will grow. Yep. And I know Shane would really like me to move it to Lake Sharp, but maybe that's changed now. I mean, he said that to me. Is that changed?
Lake Sharp holds a special place in my heart, but yeah, no. I mean, living 15 minutes from the boat ramp up here on Oahe isn't that bad either. But
yeah.
So.
But yeah, we're gonna grow this thing, guys. We appreciate the supporting it, and I look forward to seeing how it comes out next year and seeing if you guys got a big target on your back now.
Oh God, Scott's never gonna let that one go.
Hey, I just want to know who's going to get to the Bassmasters from South Dakota. We got a handful from Minnesota. When is that? When are we going to have somebody from South Dakota fishing that Bassmaster Elite Series?
The classic?
That's
Well,
that's a good question.
the classic, great, but even we've got enough guys fishing opens. Maybe we can get one in there. But
yeah,
for
Brock,
somebody,
Brock's out of Nebraska, but he
Yeah.
fishes a lot of South Dakota stuff. So he fished in the South Dakota Bass Nation and the TBF for many years. Decided to take the next step, and hats off to the kid. So he's doing what he loves to do, and I hope to see him there someday. So I know he's put a lot of work into it, and you just gotta you struggle a little bit. You got to keep your head up and just keep chasing your dream, man.
So let me ask you this, guys, since you guys are bass guys, what do you think of the new era rookies in the Elite Series? I mean, they're tearing it up. I mean, look at Trey McKinney. We were fortunate enough to have Trey on our show. He's 19 years old and an absolute hammer.
Yep.
I mean, is the new era coming in? Like, you have to be on that graph, you have to be scoping, or are we going to see the series, see that kind of fizzle and maybe the older generation catch on and use some of them tactics? Or what do you guys think the future of bass looks like?
It's hard to tell where it's going to go. I know there's a lot of people that have mixed emotions on the whole forward-facing sonar deal. I don't personally foresee it ever going away. Just for the fact Lowrance and Garmin and Humminbird, that's kind of their push. That's how they make their money. So if you take that away, then what are you left? How are you supporting your sponsors and stuff? But it seems like the younger generation is maybe grasping the concept of it a little easier. So
it's not
older generation, they had the school of hard knocks, as you will. They're used to going out and taking a jig and figuring out, okay, they're on laydowns on 45-degree banks, and then the wind's blowing 15 miles out of this direction with the sun at 45. They learned all that stuff. That's how they got good. So they're still trying to do that, and these kids are going out and going, oh, well, he's not on this laydown, but he's 10 foot over here on this one. Yeah. So they're just more efficient with it, I guess. And when you can be more efficient, time on the water that's what you got to do. So
and does it matter? Because it's a competitive sport. I mean, if the older guys, if the green boxers can't figure out the live scopers.
Shane's blank. What's a green box? True story. Bryce Hoff, who was in the tournament, and I went south to pick up his new motor this last year. Went down to, I think it was Alabama. He calls me up. Let's go to Alabama and pick up a motor. So we jet down there. Here's this guy's got this Ranger. Says, you can have it. We tried to pull it out of his yard. We couldn't because the axles were all rusted up. When's the last time it's been moved? Said 10 years. And we commenced to stripping down the whole boat. The only thing he was left with was a trailer and a fiberglass hull. So this guy that's selling us this motor comes out and he says, you guys can tell me what this is. You can have it. And it was a green box. It was the green box. I looked at it and said, that's a fish finder. That's a green box. Actually, it was a herder's model, so it wasn't even a green box. I said, that's a fish finder, no problem. Bryce looks at me and says, no way. And I said, yeah, it is. And he opens it up. Sure enough, there it was. I got it for free. It's in my garage right now.
Heck yeah. I have in the package the paper for a paper graph.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I remember being a little kid sitting in the camper, cutting up the paper and putting it back in the book, my dad's book he kept. And I'm like, and the whole time I'm thinking is like, it drew the pencil and you're going to go out tomorrow to that exact spot. Yeah, right. Like you don't even have a point on it. Like, how do you know what part of the day that came from? But who knows if he ever did, but he faked it like he did. So that's all that mattered. But, and you go through that whole forward facing sonar, guys are mad about it. And my argument is we should have started, if you're that mad about technology progressing, we should have started with GPS mapping. Because GPS mapping has done more to fishing than forward-facing sonar has, and so is spot lock. Yep. We add these things. Nobody complains about those two things, and they go, mapping is a safety factor. I get that, but the ability to pull our cell phone up and look at a map on our cell phone and not even be on the water and know where to go. Look, I mean, I showed a guy this just the other night, the Omnia fishing app. You can get water temps.
Yeah.
You literally pull the Omnia app up and you can see the water temps of the lake. Like that's just technology, and we got to embrace it, or we're gonna go backwards.
I do see there being limitations on it. You know, you see these guys, oh yeah, I'm running 5 live scopes, you know, but now they're putting them on the transom facing, 90 degrees out the side of the boat, and they're using it as live structure scan, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not up on the trolling motor panning around all the time looking for it. You can at least idle around and look at stuff, which is great. But I maybe see them limiting that to possibly 2 transducers. Probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just want to know. I just want to know if you have 5 live scopes on your boat and all the transducers ping at the same time, does the fish come up as a fish taco? Like
maybe.
Does it just like fry it up for you and send it to the surface? Like, come on.
Well, you're looking at Shane, the younger generation, and me. If I didn't have to have forward-facing sonar, I'd be perfectly happy. But in order to compete with these guys, you get in a boat with Shane or you get in a boat with Eric Storms or Travis Sightsinger, and I look at them and go, how do you do that? Well, it's right there. And I'm going, I don't have time to learn this. I just want to go fishing. Just leave me alone. I just want to throw the lure in the water. So I'm still that guy. And yep.
Look at the orange dots. I know that's hard to see, but that is an AI feature on one of the maps. So they've got this particular app has AI fishing spots, and it will pick out the best spots to catch fish on that app in any given lake. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't need that. Don't want that.
Yeah, no, and honestly, whatever, it is what it is. But we
now you gave it up. Everybody's gonna want that. You just ruined it for me. I got to go buy something new. Damn.
No, I honestly, I have 5 different apps because I found that they are all different. Every contour and every little nook and cranny, every bar, every point, every inside turn is different. But I find other fishing spots because of using the multiple apps.
Yeah.
Does it help me? No, but I sure as hell have a good time with it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Well, you want to chase them around? Here you go. Here's an app. Go get them.
Me and Chasen are definitely the picture perfect that forward-facing sonar doesn't catch you more fish.
Yeah,
we both have it, and we still catch the same amount of fish, which is usually slim to none.
Yeah, that's true. There you go.
So, well, guys, I want to sign off with this because I guarantee you want to hear it one more time. Your 2024 third annual Bass Governors champions, Shane Stiehl and Jeff Brown.
Well, I got one more thing to say, Ned.
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 Hang on. I think I can do this quick. Hold on.
Good one. Love it.
Well, thank you guys. Congrats on the win. Thanks for hopping on with us tonight, and look forward to seeing the future of you guys.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.